Hello everyone, welcome back to Vickie's Country Home. I spent several hours yesterday canning green beans from my garden, and they are so good. These are lemon garlic green beans, and I have a video about that. I'll put up a link up there. They are really good. But that's the first chance I've had to can for a while. I've just been too busy with work and other things. Goats, that's one of them. But I have a bunch of tomatillos that came out of my garden. I've got to get them processed. I've got over 8 pounds, and I've got peppers from my garden, and jalapenos and Anaheim, New Mexico chilies. So I'm gonna make roasted salsa verde. So I'm gonna make that up and then I'm gonna can it. So stay with me and let's get started. All right, the first thing I have to do is get these ready to be roasted. So I'm gonna set aside the peppers for right now, so that I can start working on these tomatillos. And they look like a tomato, but they're all enclosed in this papery husk. So the first thing I have to do is pull the husk off and discard it. Pretty easy to do, but it takes a little bit of time. So you know what? I'm not going to make you sit here and watch it. I'm going to get these all peeled and then washed, and we'll come back. I have peeled all of these tomatillos, and one thing you'll find out when you take the husks off, they're tacky feeling, or a little bit sticky, but kind of a tacky feel to them. But I just rinsed them off well, and that's all of the husks that I removed. So now what I want to do is I'm going to roast these, and I could just put them all in there whole, or I could chop them up. I think I'm going to maybe half them and then put them on foil-lined baking sheets to roast in a hot oven, because we want them to slightly char. So I'm going to get started cutting these, and some I may do quarters because they're a little bit bigger, like this one. And this is more ripe. They're more yellow when they're really ripe. And that's what they look like inside. And then you have these that are fully formed. They're just more green, which is normally what you'll have. So I'm just going to chop all these up in halves to quarters, and I'm going to start putting them on a baking sheet to put in the oven. And I'm going to preheat the oven to 425 degrees, because again, I want these to get charred and not just baked. Alright, I have chopped up 2 baking sheets full of the tomatillos, and I'm going to roast these at 425 degrees, probably about 20 minutes, just to kind of give them a char and cook just a little. And I have about this much left, and I think what I'm going to do is leave these not charred, just cut them up and process them as they are, because I want to keep some of this nice green color to my salsa verde. It will be green, but it'll be more of a charred color, so this will give it more of that bright green add to it. Once I get all of these tomatillos charred and ready to process, then I'm going to do the same with the peppers. Alright, my other tomatillos are still in the oven roasting, but I have gone ahead and cut up the remainder, and Now what I'm going to do is, I have them in the food processor. I'm going to grind them up. I want this to be like a sauce. You can leave it chunky if you like. I think I want a sauce. So first I'm going to process these green tomatillos. And then I have about 3 medium onions, medium small. I'm going to start with those, but I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to cut them into chunks and process those. And then I'm going to take garlic. And I will probably use, I don't know, I probably won't use this whole head, but I will use a good amount. And I'll let you know how much I use. But I am making this to taste. And what that means is if I were to try and water bath this, it might not be a safe recipe. So I'm going to make my salsa, I'm going to make it to taste, and then I'm going to pressure can it to keep it safe recipe. Okay, that didn't take long at all. And it really did a great job. This is a really good food processor. And I did an unboxing on that, so I'll put that video up there if anybody wants to see it. But I'm real happy with it. So I'm going to put this in my pan and then get to chopping up the onions. Okay, I've done the same for the onion. Okay, I guess my camera didn't record on the first batch. So what I'm doing is I'm taking my roasted tomatillos, and they didn't get a dark char on them, but you can see that they are cooked and they have a little bit of char on them. So I'm just going to put all of these in the food processor. Now in the first batch, I also added about 10 large cloves, very large cloves of garlic. So that all got blended in with the last baking sheet of tomatillos. And I let these cool slightly after they came out of the oven. I didn't want to put super hot tomatillos in this. So all I'm going to do is process these just like I did the onions and the raw tomatillos and the tomatillos that I put the garlic in. Now you can leave this a little chunky if you like, or you can make it smooth. However you want to make it is fine. That's what it looks like. I will tell you it tastes really good. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to take a bunch of peppers that I've grown and one that I purchased. I bought this jalapeno, but I have some small jalapenos that I grew. I think this is an ancho, and these are New Mexico or Anaheim or a combination. I'm really not sure. I just collect them and put them in the refrigerator. I'm going to go ahead and roast all of these, and I'm just going to put them on a baking sheet that's lined with foil I'm not going to cut them or do anything to them. So again, at the 400, I actually upped the temperature to 450 degrees because those tomatillos took about 30 minutes. So I'm going to roast these. I'm not sure how long. We'll find out. I just want to get a nice char on them. I will probably turn them halfway so both sides get some char on them. And then we'll come back and I'll let you know how that worked. Okay, so I got these peppers roasted. I did about 10 minutes on one side and then I turned them and it was about another 5 minutes. So now I want to peel that skin off. And then I let them sit as they cooled under a piece of foil that kind of trapped the heat a little bit. So just peel all that tough skin off. Now I'm going to do that to all the peppers. I'm going to take out stems and seeds, and then we're going to grind these up. Alright, I have most of the peppers peeled and seeded, membranes out. I have 3 little jalapenos that I'm going to wait, but all the rest are in here. And the Anaheim, New Mexico style, they're not super hot. That large jalapeno is kind of hot, so I'm going to see how much I need before I add these final peppers. I think I'm going to add some of the mixture I've already processed to help it grind up better. Much better. Alright, I'm going to add this to the tomatillos and we're going to see where the heat level is, but we're also going to add our spices now. Alright, I'm going to start with the cumin. Actually, I'm going to start with salt because it's all going to take tablespoons. So I'm going to put in 2 tablespoons of salt, and the recipe I kind of following uses a lot of fresh cilantro. I don't have fresh. I do have freeze-dried, and I don't think I want as much in there, so I'm going to put that's about 4 tablespoons. It called for a cup, and that's a lot, so I'm not sure I want that much in there. And then it calls for, and that is not going to fit, calls for a tablespoon of ground cumin or comino. So we're going to put that, but it's for a smaller batch, so I'm going to see what it all tastes like. Kind of mix this up a little. Oh, it smells so good. And then I'm going to add about a cup of lime juice. Let's get this all mixed up. And then I'm going to take a taste to see where the heat level and the seasoning level is. I think I'm good on everything, but I think I'm going to add some more lime juice. 3 or 4 tablespoons. But again, I'm doing this to my taste. And since it will be pressure canned, I'm not too worried about percentages. I may add some more peppers to this. I'm going to let this cook a little bit, maybe half hour, but I'm going to let the flavors kind of come together, and then I'll come back and see if I need to adjust the seasoning. Okay, this is simmered for about an hour. I think I would use slightly less salt next time. It's okay, and I did add the rest of the peppers because it needed that. It still is not hot, although there were some hot peppers, so but it tastes good, so that's what counts. Now I've got hot jar, and I am going to add the hot salsa. And we're going to add that to 1-inch headspace. And that's about perfect. So I have some vinegar there, and I'm just going to clean the rim. And since I already have 2 of these jars promised, I'm going to use metal lids for those. And we put I have the lids in simmering water. I'm trying to get it on straight. There we go. Finger tight. And then this goes in the canner. Let's do that again. So on this jar, I'm not giving all the jars away. This is for our own use. So I have some reusable canning lids sent to me by Harvest Guard. They are very similar to the Tatler lids. Now, I have not had a lot of trouble with Tattlers, but some people have. And I've also heard that there are a lot of fakes out there, so I reached out to Harvest Guard and asked them, and they kindly sent me a sampling of their lids. So this is Harvest Guard, and it has the plastic reusable lid with the reusable rubber ring, and we're going to try that out. And for those, you don't want to tighten it too tight. You want it just literally finger tight. You do not want to crank it down. They need to be able to vent the pressure. So I'm going to finish filling these jars, and then I'm going to put this in the canner. I'm going to process these pressure canned. Now I've heard varying amounts of time. I am choosing to process this for 20 minutes. At my altitude is 15 pounds of pressure, and then let it come down naturally. I've heard longer and shorter, but I haven't seen anything supporting that. So that's what I'm going to do instead of water bath, even though I have a lot of acid in here. And so I'm going to let the pressure can vent steady stream of steam for 10 minutes. And after that, once it comes up to 15 pounds of pressure, then I'm going to process for 20 minutes. So I'll see you back when I'm all done. All right, so I let these jars come up to pressure at 15 pounds of pressure for high altitude, and I processed them for 20 minutes, and they all look really well sealed. These are just out of the canner. They're very hot, and I don't know if you can tell, but they're still boiling inside the jars. We just had supper, and we had chalupas. For those of you that aren't from Texas, that's probably tostadas. And by special request, we had this Salsa Verde to go on them, and it was really good. Now these, I was surprised. I put a lot of peppers in here, and they were not hot at all. Even though I know at least the big jalapeno was hot, it really didn't give heat. But it had a really good flavor, so that was a hit. You can always add heat to it if you want. So I hope you give this a try. The Harvest Guard lids, if you can tell, every one of them has sealed. They look beautiful, so I'm really happy with them. I have had a couple of problems over the years with tattlers, and not bad, but I have had a couple. Not one of these is a problem. So thank you, Harvest Guard, for sending me these samples. I appreciate it. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and share. Hit the notification bell so you're notified anytime I upload a video. God bless, and we will talk again soon.